this place real? That depends. If real is what you can feel, smell, taste, and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain. Pikachu, I have in my hand 2 pills. You take the blue pill, and the story ends now. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the Diglett hole goes. But be warned, dive too deep, and you may never return.
Yeah, it's funny because I heard an interview and he was like he wants to go out like Tim Duncan, and I'm like that may scare a lot of sports card investors.
That's funny. Hey, another topic we were going to talk about, and back here, David also mentioned I think it was David about breaking and how to, or Hobby Champs mentioned it. Here we go. He said group breakers are raising the cost of boxes case, but also it's pretty sweet to be able to get every card of a player out of a case. LOL, kind of a catch-22. So one of the topics we did want to talk about too is like related to breaks, like how do you protect yourself? How do you make good decisions in the breaking space? For me, I feel like I don't break. I've broken like maybe twice ever. It's not my thing. I'm not totally opposed to it, but with the conditions of things right now, I don't like it, but I do see a context where it could be good. So what is your thoughts about how you can kind of, approach the world of breaking in a wise way?
Yeah, so breaking promotes kind of like almost like a gambling mentality, and but also like it can be entertaining. It could be really nice for kids. I think there are a couple of things that people need to look at, right? Don't look at it as an investment at all.
Absolutely.
Like, and I know everybody says that, but there's some people out there who still do. If you're gonna look at breaking, you need to think of it more of like going to a casino or playing the slot machines or something like that. That's what you're doing.
The way I think about it is like no different than if I was to spend money to like go on a small vacation or to go out to dinner with something. Like I just think of it as like paying for entertainment, and I don't expect any return.
Yeah. I think it's like, like you're going to a movie, like you're going to like, I don't know, depending on what kind of boxes you're buying into versus, if you're buying in the Chronicles versus National Treasures, one might be, a low end movie theater and maybe a drink and some candy. And the other one may be like a high end movie theater.
Yeah.
With
You're like renting out the entire movie theater for the week.
Yeah. With like gourmet dinners and stuff. Like, So I think that's probably the better way to look at it. And then when it comes to individual breakers, I think you need to look at reputations. And I think there's probably some places on the internet or on YouTube where you can Google the top breakers, and then you could watch the breaks, look and see. I think you have to do some research and see if there's any controversy with those people. Have they done anything that's been shady? Because if they have, people can learn from their mistakes and they could be new and stuff, but a lot of times that they could do it again, or they've been doing it all along. Because there have been times where a breaker, or they's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get this card away for free or whatever, and they break the card, they break the box, and it's like a valuable card. It's like a $50,000 card, and they're like, oh, yeah, we'll get you another card.
Yeah, that's like the backyard break situation. Yeah, that's the thing about.
Go ahead.
Like it's almost like there's a like within breaking. I feel like there's like a. Like because it's become a form of entertainment, people are not necessarily looking for breakers sometimes that are the best collaborators or the people that you trust the most. They're looking for a TV show they can interact with a little bit, which is I think why something like the Backyard Breakers, why they get so many people coming there, because they're coming there like they would come and watch a show on a show on on TV or something like that. It's from that kind of mindset. But yeah, I feel like when I'm coming if I was breaking more often, my approach would absolutely be, okay, let me find somebody that I feel like if he owned my local card shop, like I would want to go there, and I would want to talk to him about cards, and I would want to like build an actual connection, build an actual friendship with this person. And if I can feel that sense of community, then and there's a sense of trust, then I'm more likely to be willing to go into that kind of break. So I feel like that's the kind of mindset that I would want to go into. And that's one of the reasons I haven't done much breaking either, because I don't know I don't know who the breakers are. I don't have any connection with any of them specifically.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think there's other things where you mentioned like backyard breaks. The reason why a lot of people probably break with them is because also you're gonna see a lot of big hits just because they have, I guess, more money and they're buying way more products. Yeah. So you're just gonna increase the chances of seeing big hits and stuff like that. I think a lot of people probably watch it just because they just want to see somebody pull like a crazy card and then people go all crazy and jump around. It's entertaining or whatever. It's just like wow. But I think it's one of those things where, the big thing I think kind of we're saying is like, you want to do some research and you want to find someone you have a connection with. And if you go to card shows and things such as that, maybe some of the breakers are there. And this may be good for breakers too. To like maybe go to card shows, do things so they can interact with the people they're breaking with and do some things, because a lot of these breakers are making so much money. It's probably going to be a little bit less now. But like, because there's less easy money and less free money on the table, but either do some giveaways or do live streams, question and answers, people who've broken with them and things like that can ask some questions, maybe get to know them a little bit more, what kind of cards they're into, maybe if they collect, stuff like that. I think certain things that breakers can do can be like helpful. Or if they host a card show or an event, and you get to see them or meet them in person, that would be interesting.
So what do you think about like in the future of breaking? So David asked this question, I think is really good because it seems like, Fanatics seems like the kind of company that they're trying to create an ecosystem where they are the center of everything. I mean, really, who knows what Fanatics' long-term vision is going to be, but they're trying to conquer all. What do you think, what do you see as the possibility of the future of breaking if Fanatics starts to step into that market?
Probably the most popular breakers and the people who have a pretty big platform and probably the most ethical breakers who had the least amount of controversy are going to be the people that they're going to like outsource or get them like contracts to break for them. And they're probably going to send products to them at more of a discount. And they may like limit the amount of product they send to card shops and other places. So the whole good old boy network people talk about is probably going to be over for most people. Probably not everybody, but for most people. And the people do get, massive deals or whatever for product are probably going to be, and I wouldn't say massive, not like breakers for 2018, 19, and 20, where like literally you get the cases and then you could literally like sell it on eBay for like 3x the market price or whatever. I don't see that happening again. But like,
yeah, that can't happen. That's not healthy.
Yeah. So, but then also when you break, there's technically a markup too, even on that. So they're really making
a
money,
reasonable markup. Any business, and breaking is essentially a business. Any business is looking to, to get the products from some kind of wholesale seller, distributor, and have a markup and a reasonable markup. I feel is completely fine, you know, and a markup that, you know, if that's based on how much, you know, your product you're able to get, you know, distributed. I understand all of the like the business numbers behind everything, as long as it's like you said before, as long as the decisions are rooted in ethics, you know, that you're not trying to squeeze out the last pennies from the collectors community, but you're trying to create something that's sustainable as a business model and that's good for everybody, you know. So I feel like if you can approach that with that kind of mindset, I worry a little bit like if Fanatics is going to approach it that way, or if they're going to look for, you know, I know that like Josh Loop was with the Backyard Breakers on their program for a while. And, you know, I just worry that are they going to be looking for the breakers that they can really build long-term business relationships with, or would they be looking for the breakers that have a huge audience, you know, that they can, you know, automatically connect into that huge audience? So that's my worry, you know, if they're which one they're going to go, which path they're going to take.
I mean, they invest a lot of money, so they probably would do the huge audience. And I think even despite controversy, if they still have a huge audience, they're like, well, people don't seem to care. So we're just going to probably leverage that. Because I was thinking, because Fanatics is so big and they have they're so much money, I would think they wouldn't even use like, and they probably still will, but like, I don't know, if I was like overall this and I was at Fanatics, maybe I would be like the evil card person. But like, yeah, everything would be in house. Like, everything will be sold through distribution directly through Fanatics. Probably sold on the website, so you could pre-order stuff. And if it's not the website, you could wherever Fanatic stores are or warehouses, you can buy from them, and they can ship it. It'd be like a mini Amazon in a sense.
Yeah, potentially, if they want to set it up that way. One thing I wonder, you know, like I look at, so I'm in China, of course, as you know, and in China, there's one single distributor, Fansmall, that distributes all of the Tmall, like the Asia exclusive products. It's one distributor, and they're really, more than anything, they're more like a breaking platform more than anything. You know, if you go to the Fansmall app, you know, in China, it's just lists and lists and lists of breaks. And that's the main thing they do, you know, as the sole distributor. That's their main way of distributing is through their own breaking ecosystem. And I kind of wonder if that might end up being what Fanatics does. I mean, they have talked a lot about wanting to support the local card shops, and I really hope that they hold to that, because I do feel like, you know, the sports cards, you know, the ecosystem requires community, you know, and I feel like the local spirit, I mean, the local card shop is kind of the center of that. It's the beating heart of the community. And I feel like, you know, I really do hope, they've said that in words a lot, but it's really hard to know, you know, what their long-term plan is going to be. And it seems like they don't necessarily even know themselves in some ways. So I'm quite curious.
You know, here's something I don't understand. This is a little bit of a side, but I guess I don't understand, like, if Fanatics has all this money, like, how come they don't just like grade the cards themselves?
So, you know,
I
think they, you know, I made a video a long back that was looking at it's really fascinating. Michael Rubin, the main guy there with Fanatics, he's also he was one of the main investors in Blackstone Financial Group, which was the main financial group that backed up CCG and CSG. And so the head, you know, Michael Rubin, this big guy in Fanatics, is like, has a huge stake in the success of CSG. That's, you know, I kind of feel like if Fanatics can't get their own grading company, because there's real room for absolute corruption if the production company is also the grading company. There's too much room for that to be a corrupt situation. But if you invest heavily in a different grading company and you build a really close relationships with them so that their success leads to your financial success, I feel like that's what's happening. I feel like CSG is going to be the Fanatics kind of partner in some of that. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know what the long-term business is, but when I think about somebody like Michael Rubin investing so much in the CCG collectibles group, I can't see any reason why he would do that unless he saw them as kind of like a future long-term partner kind of thing.
I was thinking about that as well. I'm not sure what happens to PSA then. Like, over time, does PSA kind of become second fiddle?
I think PSA is too. I don't think any of this will affect PSA. PSA is too many wealthy people have too much money in PSA slabs that even if the other companies grow exponentially, like CSG might at some point in the future, it seems to me, I don't think it's going to affect PSA. Even if PSA does a terrible job business wise, they're too deeply embedded, and too many people have too much invested in them. I feel like it's almost inevitable that they stay king of the hill, even with other things that might happen, because the market speaks also. As much as Michael Rubin might want CSG to be number one, the market has to make that decision ultimately, and they can push and they can give CSG some real backing and can get them climbing up. But I don't think that they can overpower the movement of the entire market, and the market has spoken on PSA so clearly.
I guess Hobby Champ said, I bet Fanatics will try to break breaker exclusive release that can only be purchased by group breaker slots online in their ecosystem of sales and exclusive breaks. That's probably going to happen, actually. Yeah,
sure, that's going to happen. I'm sure that's going to happen. I don't know, what will be the how you'll get into that ecosystem exactly, but I'm sure that's going to happen.
Yeah,